Good morning or good day, I should say, depending on which part of the world you're in. Good evening, Cancer. So good to see you. Thank you for being patient here as I was getting everything set up. We have an abundance of messages that came through. I'll be looking at May 2021. You can always use this for your sun, rising, moon, really any aspect of your chart, including Venus. And the beginning portion is really open to anybody that comes into the room, the channeled messages as well. So quick introduction, my name is Nicholas Ashbaugh. If it's your first time here, welcome. You've got a great reading in store for you. A lot of information that we cover here in about an hour to hour and a half. So I'll go through that in just a second. Again, my name is Nicholas Ashbaugh, and the way that I organize it is in 4 major parts. At the very beginning here, I have a ton of messages here that I kind of came through both meditation, dreams, and just the act of automatic writing. So I will share all of that with you. And that's why anybody that shows up could receive a message, because I'm basically right before, I do this about 2 hours before I get started, I start channeling. So if you show up, I start to get messages for you. After we do this, I'll go into the Celtic Cross and we'll go a little bit deeper into looking at opportunities, any potential challenges, and all the sort of stuff in between. I allow the Celtic Cross to take on whatever energy it wants to. So it's not just a love reading. Love is a part of my expanded forecast, though. I look at health, wealth, love, and destiny. But the center portion, when I'm looking at the cross, can be anything. I tend to focus here on this channel on soul growth, on things that you can do to succeed, to be empowered. And as such, it actually will help you in areas of career and love. Let me put down Apollo and we'll continue to talk here. So we do that expanded forecast and then a quick review after that. And we'll take a look at the soul path after we go through this sort of general reading. And the soul path is a chance for you and I to look at 1 or 2 of these, either the cards that come up or the messages here that I've received in the channeled portion, and go deeper so that you can be further empowered, not just for the next month or 2, but for the rest of this year. And then we'll meditate quickly. Usually it's a 2-minute meditation, which will help integrate one of these lessons. And I pull a final card at the end, so you should stick around if you can. And in that card, I will answer a question that you have. You don't have to type it out. In fact, I don't do Q&A here. But what you would do is silently focus on that. You can do it during the meditation and then right as I'm shuffling the cards. And I'll give you a yes/no part of it, and then I go deeper into it and give you some layers through just pulling a single card. So that's something new that I've started this month, and at the end of last month I was testing it out and everyone seems to like it. So that's the format, and without any further delay, let's get started. Just a couple of notes. First of all, if you would like to show some support during the reading, a great way to kind of give a hello. We already see some of it here, so thank you so much to everybody that's doing it. You can give a super sticker or super chat. And basically, this is a way that will continue to help me update all of my cards and just show up too. So if you like what you're seeing, thank you. It helps directly go back into the resources necessary to produce what you see on the channel. Another way that you can do that on replay is by clicking the applaud button. It's right by the like and share button. So whatever you choose, I appreciate it. And if you that doesn't feel comfortable to you, you don't have the funds, etc., the single most important and best way that you can support this channel and help others discover it is to hit the like button and to share it and to comment on it when it is finally on replay, because the engagement, as the YouTube sort of algorithm looks at that, is really important. It helps basically serve it up to other people. So I can't stress enough, just showing up and connecting with me here, it's a big help. Okay, let's get started. So again, we're looking at the month of May, even though I'm reading it in April. These messages that I'm going to be going through right now will probably resonate in both April and May. And then the rest of the messages are going to kind of help you over the course of the next 6 to 8 weeks. So I start off all of my readings with a spirit totem. And spirit totem comes to me usually the morning of or the night before. And a lot of times I feel like the universe is having a sense of humor with me, because it's often things that I don't know much about or wouldn't normally choose. Like we had a bat come through for Gemini, but it was really appropriate. Yours is a possum, and it's a really interesting animal. And I kept asking Spirit again this morning. I'm like, are we really going to talk about a possum? And it said, yes, this is what we had to talk about. So part of what I do in the morning is do some research on why that came through. So there's a couple spellings of possum, either with or without the O, doesn't really make a difference. I'm looking at the one here that would be more in North America. I think maybe it goes a little bit into, I think it's mostly North America, but this is a marsupial. They're probably in different places, but this is the one that I'm looking at here. Based on its behavior, I think all of you have probably heard the phrase play possum or play dead. They are basically a very pacifist type animal, very non-confrontational, which is kind of nice. They look a little scary. They have a lot of teeth and everything, big eyes, and you look at them and it's sort of like, what is this? I remember I've seen it a few times here in LA, sometimes early in the morning or at night if I'm walking the dog. You'll see them kind of rummaging around. But once you get over the fact that they look a little strange, they're very peaceful animals. So I like that as I was doing some research. They seek the path of least conflict and least resistance, right? And what's really interesting for you this month is the possum's coming through to maybe give you a little nudge that it's time to be more active. Let's first focus on the positive aspects of this behavior pattern. As a pacifist, a peacekeeper, you may be able to de-escalate and neutralize conflict. And that, if you can avoid an argument, or if you can bring things down to a sort of even kilter, I think that's a great skill to have. And that's something that this animal has evolved so that they can survive. And it's a really cool skill that it does. I was Googling and looking up some of this stuff. Certain birds, tree frogs, and other animals will also play dead like the possum does. But basically, if you try to confront it, it will either freeze or run away or try to hide. It's not going to try to attack you. It may show its teeth or make some noises. I was looking at some YouTube videos that made me laugh, but it's not an angry or a violent animal. So de-escalating things, being neutral, being peaceful, I like all of those things. And the possum was coming through kind of like celebrating that aspect of your personality. The other thing that's really powerful with this lovely creature is that its body language is it's more powerful than when it's kind of vocalizing or trying to make these little chirping sounds or whatever. It's how it acts. And I've noticed, for those of you that have dogs, when they're really comfortable around you, they'll go on their back and put their belly up, and it's a sign of sort of saying, don't hurt me, I'm safe, and I trust you, and all of that. So the possum has that same sort of peaceful and sort of submissive energy. But what I think you could do this month, playing dead isn't always effective. And as I was doing some research, sometimes, like for instance, imagine a car is coming towards a possum and it plays dead. Not the best sort of thing. It would be better to move away from that. Or if there's another predator that's coming towards it and it just stays still, it might have been better if it either fought it or moved away. So I think pick and choose what battles you want to fight, right? Because sometimes it's like 5 of Swords where you're not going to win. But sometimes it's worth fighting. Or if it's like 7 of Swords, you need to speak up and stop some behavior. So instead of playing dead, what I was intuiting when I was kind of tuning into the possum energy was to don't play dead, but actually transform. What is death but transformation and change? So move into it. No more games, no more waiting around, no more hoping that the other person will figure it out. You're just going to go through and go into transformation. In the book that I wrote, the character of Death was actually called Transformation. I think that's I forgot an N on this. I think that's a better word for death. So it should be transform. Transformation. Okay. The next piece that came through was that whatever scares you can also help you grow. Just trust in your abilities, right? Trust that you're going to be able to do this, that you're going to be able to move through something. Fear is a sort of part of our primal brain where we protect ourselves. We're trying not to get hurt. But in order to grow spiritually and as a human and just sort of like to get to the next level, sometimes you have to fight for something if you were wronged. Someone recently that I know had an issue with like service that wasn't done the right way. And so you have to pick up the phone, you have to talk and say, this isn't right. What are you going to do to make it right? You have to kind of push yourself out of your shell a little bit. And that's an appropriate metaphor, even though we're not really talking about a hermit crab, but it's still kind of Cancer imagery. Sometimes you have to come out of your shell and show your power. And it's very strong if you don't always do that. When and if you choose to speak up and you have something good to say, sometimes it's amazing. You can really make a splash with that. So don't be afraid to use your voice. In fact, the next card really comes through with all of the things that you can do, which is to stand tall, not just in the sort of metaphorical sense, but also kind of posture-wise, because If you're kind of closed in, it's hard to take you seriously. So stand tall, open up your throat, speak up, and there's different intonations you can use. You can go a little bit deeper, you can go a little bit louder if you need to. Really use the power of your voice. Engage. This is the antithesis of, or the opposite of, what the possum would do. So instead of freezing, you want to engage with the person that is triggering you on some levels and say, I can see you're upset. What's going on? Let's talk about this, or this is unlike you. Kind of start to converse a little bit and figure out if you can get to the bottom of what's going on, and then move forward and move beyond it. Because the one thing that I didn't love about the possum energy is that it just sits there and it waits for the situation to be over. That's too passive, I think. So I think that there is something nice about not necessarily shaking the tree or shaking a hornet's nest and causing a problem. So that part of the possum is good. It is peacekeeping, and it avoids conflict. But if conflict comes to you, you have to deal with it. You can use a little bit of your energy to because you're empathic, that's part of your sign. So you can sympathize, empathize, and try to neutralize the situation. But then at some point, you're going to have to take an active stand. So feels to me like over the next month or two, there's some situations coming forth where you're being challenged to be a little bit more active. Sorry, I just got a little bit of ink on me there. A little bit more active and a little bit more proactive, I would say, actually, making sure that you're not waiting for something to happen. Okay, next thing. This is a very nocturnal creature. Actually, most of what I've been picking up on this month has been pretty nocturnal. We had like an earthworm, we had the bat. For you, this animal comes out at night. What I got was everything's going to see the light of day eventually. Just like even as I'm walking my dog, I still see this animal, even if it's trying to hide. So why not plan, prepare, and act? Get some sort of an action plan together this month. Make a list of to-do items, if you will, and commit to making progress. Manifest, basically, right? And you have to know what it is that you're trying to do before you can bring it in. We're going to talk a little bit here. I'm going to skip forward for a second. There's a certain pose in Hatha, and well, we don't do it so much in Kundalini, but different types of yoga will use Shavasana. And even though I put this in the next sort of grouping, I want to talk about it now. So it's a great way for you to receive abundance and support. The Sanskrit translates to like resting or corpse pose. And that seems to be really appropriate with what the totem is this month with the possum. The difference between Shavasana and like just playing dead is you've worked maybe for 45 minutes to an hour to open up. You're very clear, and you're at that point receiving healing and abundance. So really what Shavasana, or that, if we kind of go into that, if we take the possum and transmute it or transform it into Shavasana, it's really about releasing your fear after you face it, after you deal with it, and opening up to your power, imagining that you are like an ace of cups, ace of pentacles, ace of wands. You're able to receive, brainstorm, kind of own something, and then bring it forward. So receive, grow, expand, and surrender to your purpose, first and foremost. So the other thing here, and now I'm kind of stepping backward, knowing who you are, knowing what you need to sort of have to be successful is going to be important, because spirit will wait for you to ask for help, especially angels and ascended masters. They don't want to get in the way of your free will. So know what you want, say what you want, and intend on that, put an intention out. And then you can, in Shavasana, that can be a form of prayer and receiving it. So all of that kind of comes together nicely there. Okay, next piece, very specific. And I think this has to do with devices, actually, computers, tablets, and phones. But protect your privacy and intellectual property. If there's something that you really care about, try not to keep it in a place where people can easily get to it, especially if you share a computer or an iPad, or if you're working on a kiosk or something at a library. And also, I know a lot of you may share passwords for streaming services and everything. Make sure that your password for your computer and for any of these sort of documents is different than that. It's not generally a good sort of thing to share passwords. So you should have a separate one for all your other accounts. I just saw that there could be someone that's snooping around. Again, the possum energy came through. It can be a little sneaky. So I want you to make sure that you've tightened up security, particularly when it comes to passwords and devices. It was very specific, but when I get specific messages, I share them with you like that. When it comes to relationships this month, I actually feel like there's going to be some opening for you. Relationships can be work, friendship, etc. I want you to be discerning. Don't necessarily take the first option. This also will move to any, like a job. It can be the same sort of thing. So whether it's a job, a relationship, or some sort of opportunity, be discerning and make sure that it's checking off all of the boxes. That's why I was getting you to make that to-do list. This can also be a wish list if you want to manifest. So if you're thinking of creating something, put together the wish list of what you want or who you want to work with or what you're trying to achieve, and sit there and meditate on it, and then start to work a little bit each day at one of those items. And I think some really great things will start to happen. But you have to be able to at least know what you're trying to do. And if not, that's your homework this month. And we can talk more. Maybe I can do that by the way, I have a week from today, next Thursday, I believe on the 15th or so. We have the first of two general readings for everybody, all signs. I may do something that's a little bit more pointed on that one, or it may be another sort of just collective. So more to come. But I might talk about that at that point too, manifestation. All right, the next two cards were also really specific and very clear visuals. My guides showed me the importance of making your bed. I know this sounds crazy, but it's going to be both literally making your bed, and we'll talk about that, and then also symbolically. So the literal piece of making your bed each and every day is that you want to put yesterday kind of like to sleep, to rest, and say this is a new day. And you want to also sort of be open in case someone amazing needs to come into your house, into your home. You want a clean space. So making the bed means like keeping a clean kitchen, keeping a clean bathroom, keeping your bed made. We don't always every day. I know sometimes you're in a hurry and you can't do it, but when you can do that and see how it changes your energy over the course of a week when you take an extra 30 seconds to 1 minute to just put the sheets back in order and have a clean bed. And then the next thing is clean up all aspects of your life, especially finances. It's about being accountable. So I got a couple things like accounting for things. And then also if you owe something, pay it. If you promise something, complete it. Basically that's cleaning the bed too and making the bed. Each and every day is a clean slate with new and exciting opportunities. I strongly believe this. If yesterday wasn't good, well, gosh darn it, today's going to be a lot better, right? And that's how you have to think about it, is that I have a clean slate today. Let's just do a better job. Let's do better. So those are your messages today, and a really interesting spirit totem that came through. And I like it. I think that the possum was teaching us a lot about walking the line between being peaceful and passive, and then standing up for yourself, transforming, instead of playing dead, actually transforming. And I thought that was powerful. All right, let me stack up all of these cards, and then we're going to go into the next portion of your reading where we talk about opportunities, potential blocks, and everything in between. A reminder that, like I said, you can use this for your sun sign, your rising, your moon. If you know other aspects of your chart, you can also look at that. I mentioned Venus is one of them, but the way that my readings do work, and it's just because I'm intuitive and a channeler, even if it's not your sign, you can just stick around. And a lot of times I will end up giving you messages that you need, especially here and especially at the end. So I hope you enjoyed today's reading. No matter what sign you are, you're always welcome. I'm live at least 13 times a month, sometimes 14 like this month. So at this point, I'm going to remain quiet, and I'm going to focus on the cards and see what comes through. I'm actually going to leave these side by side because they were on top of each other. So let me just pick another one. Okay. By the way, another message that came through with respect to finances. I did get for some of you that the finances could take up to 5 months to sort of come through. I also got a very specific figure for some reason around like $5,000. So for some of you, there may be some sort of a loan or an approval that's needed, or you might be looking at a 5-month. It was 5 in one way or another, so 5 months or something like that. Something specific that was coming through with finances. So we'll look at it when I go to work, the extended forecast looking at work as well. But yeah, just popped into my head again, and I forgot to mention it earlier. Okay, which is why it's good to kind of stick around. At the midpoint, I will get additional messages when I look at those index cards, because we will have gone through everything that I just have pulled in front of me, and I can get some additional insights. So let's see what's coming through here. All right, we have the medallion here in your catalyst position. The catalyst is a way for you to stay in the highest energy, to avoid sort of getting in your way, if you will, and to be successful ultimately, make change happen. And a catalyst, when a possum is your totem, is going to be important because this is how you shift through that passive energy. So the medallion is what I was kind of talking about earlier, which is, what is your goal? You could see this as an ace, like an ace of pentacles. It looks a lot like that to me. So what are you reaching for? What's the purpose? What's the goal? What's the intention? When you know what you're reaching for, the universe can meet you halfway. Otherwise, you have to do a lot of work, or a lot of sort of like just kind of groping and hoping that you'll maybe find what you're looking for. So be very intentional, set your intention, if you will, and then reach for that goal. And something wonderful can happen if you do that. The medallion is also saying that it's sometimes the process of working towards something is better than the anticlimactic sort of experience of getting the award or finishing something. So try to enjoy this reaching phase, if you will. It's good to always have something else that you're reaching for. It gives you a reason to get up in the morning. Goals are good, basically. That would be the bumper sticker with this one. Goals are really an essential piece to manifesting. If you don't have them, I think it's a lot harder to successfully manifest if you don't know what you're trying to do, and if you don't believe that you can do it. And I think you should reach, even if it feels like it's unattainable, just imagine you can stretch a little bit more. Okay. So I really like that card. And it's also kind of in giving you this symbol that something good is coming. Something's around the corner. Keep on reaching. Okay. Let's look at your center card here. We have the 7 of Wands in the reversed position, and 7 of Wands I love, actually. Let's talk about what's good about the 7 of Wands. Basically, you can handle anything that comes your way, even challenges, even if you're put in the hot seat like we see with this person. Basically, you may have a moment in a relationship where someone just puts you on the spot, or at work. All of a sudden, they're like, what do you think? Or school. This is never kind of like a really fun position to be put in, but guess what? You can totally handle it. The one thing that you want to watch with the 7 of Wands is sometimes you can get into a position where you're overcommitting, and you want to, in that case, push back a little bit, delegate, because there's you see this person taking the defensive stance. If you try to do too much, or you're trying to juggle too much, and then you fall a little bit, it can be that sort of moment where you're thinking, but I was just trying to help. And don't get yourself into that situation. It would be better instead to say, listen, I've got a lot on my plate. I really want to focus on this. I need help with this. Who can help with it? Or if you can't get help, just say, I'm going to be doing this next week because there's just too much. So communicate. And I think as long as you are transparent, positive about it, and really honest, you can't get in trouble. If you have a boss or a partner or people in your life, your family, and they don't want to help you, or they don't listen to the fact that you're overwhelmed, it's on them. And ultimately, it's probably time to look for a different situation. Obviously, in families, it's tough. But in work situations and friendships, you don't have to really put up with that so much. And this is the coming out of the passive energy and being more active. So with this card reverse, it's just saying, you know what? No, you're going to help with this. Or you know what? I can't do any more today. I'm tired. And in doing that, you're going to be able to be more successful at what you do achieve. I like to talk about the mathematics of wands. It's one of the suits where you can take things away and it's more successful. So if you take one of these away, it's the 6 of wands, which is literally success. If you push through this phase, you get to the 8 of wands, which is having a lot of things going on, which is fine. But you need some sort of management to either help you get up, or you need to push something away so you can be more successful and then take on that extra thing. You could just sort of stay in the 6 of wands, if you will. Trying to do much will not equal success. Delegating may, though, or finding a more efficient way to get things done so you can move on to the next level. 6 of Pentacles right on top of it. It is about making choices, not saying yes all the time, saying no when it's appropriate. And also thinking about the trade-offs on certain things. Like if I don't do this, but if I do this, like how is this all coming together to really make me feel a sense of fulfillment? I'm not worrying about my cash flow at the end of the day, because when I was seeing the bed being made, it was also almost like what's hiding underneath it, like what's inside. So if your finances are untidy, I feel like that's one of the areas that you need to tidy up as well. Really good news with the 6 of Pentacles. It is for me, it's like the point where you're actually comfortable, if you will. If you're a business and it's been tough, this shows me that you have more than enough. If you have been struggling with debt and other things, this is showing me that with proper choices, you can get to the place where you're okay. You can't have everything you want, but you can have everything you need. And then you can start to grow from there, okay? So I like it. I think it's good. It is about the combination of these 2 cards go hand in hand. This is delegating and pushing back. This is saying no outright. So I feel like there's a little bit of both that need to happen this month. For some of you, you've just decided enough is enough. We have Justice reverse, and the Justice card in reverse is no, or no more, or I'm walking away. It could also be about righting a wrong. So if you've been putting up with something for a while and it just, you no longer can kind of sit and watch someone do something, or if you want to fight for something, this is basically saying, yeah, this is the time. That was wrong. I'm going to do something about it. In a relationship, it's usually separation, divorce, or moving on. For business, it's about quitting. In legal matters, it usually, this is in the deep past, so hopefully most of you are moving through it because we're reading this a month ahead. But this could be something where you have to cut losses too. It's typically not what I want to see if it was you waiting for a verdict, but we're just reading it as an aspect of you. So I think what it really is for you is saying no, moving on, letting go. Okay. We have 2 of the boss cards here. I like Queen of Wands, and I also think the Empress, likewise with King of Wands and the Emperor, but basically these are boss cards. I do like the Empress card a little bit more because it has the sort of nurturing energy, the symbolism of fertility. Almost always you see a pregnant woman in this card, which is showing that you could take something. It's symbolic, right? So if you're working on a project, it comes through to fruition with this. These are very compatible cards. To me, this reads like Ace of Pentacles. So what you're trying to achieve, you can achieve. That's what we see here, okay? I see a sort of playful energy in this cat here, which makes me laugh. And I think one of the things that's important is to have fun and really pick loyal companions. This goes back to my channeled written messages, focusing on intellectual property, privacy, and things like non-disclosure agreements. Who can you trust? Who can you share things with? Also, when it comes to just your own secrets, your own things that are going on in your life, really pick your friends wisely. Try to have some fun. And as you're starting to surround yourself with good people, have a little bit of fun, the creation process is a lot easier, okay? The Empress card is typically someone who should either be calling the shots, affecting the outcome, or maybe owning their own business. There's a very entrepreneurial energy that comes through with this. Some of you may be starting a family. Some of you may just be put in that hot seat this month. And if you are, you're going to succeed because she's a very abled card to kind of show up for leadership. All right, I like everything. And she's not reversed. So really only positive energy coming through with the Empress card. So Cancer, it's time to make some changes. Your crowning card is the Tower. So let me talk about the Tower is one of the cards that gets misunderstood sometimes. For me, it depends where it's at. When it's in the crowning position, sometimes for me, that really is like what's going on in your head. So are you just overwhelmed right now? Is there a lot that you're dealing with, a lot that you're processing? Are you so busy, because we see the sort of time and energy management cards at the center, that you're just having a hard time doing what you need to do for yourself, maybe taking care of everyone else but you? So if that's the case, this is the making the bed card as well. It's sort of like, let's get everything organized, okay? But the Justice card and the Tower together, deep past and crowning, it's saying, let's take what we learned from the situation and rebuild. The Tower isn't always falling apart. It can also be rebuilding. So it feels like there's a lot of movement this month, a lot of changes, a lot of shifting. And now you can take what you've learned and do something with it. Notice how she's very much in control of the tower, right? This is a witch deck. There's witches and wizards in it. So it's all about magic. So when you look at something that you need to fix, just be in control of it, be empowered. And that's what we see with her. She's not really worried about what's going on, okay? I often think that, when things fall apart, it's usually for the best. Your outcome card indicates that. We've got the Four of Wands. So I kind of look at this as the relationships that you're able to hold on to, the core things that are left. It's not about the stuff, house, a car, belongings. It's about people that you truly trust, people that you truly love, that you can depend upon in your life. This is how you can kind of count your riches, and also the love that's exchanged between you and those people. So maybe less of a focus on the material, less of a focus on things like job title, job pay, society status, how big your house is, what kind of car you have, what people think of you. This is sort of a destruction of the material and a focus on the interior you. And I think really that's what this tower is about. Now, for those of you that do own a house, it would be time to probably do some maintenance. Take a look at the roof. Usually the tower is the foundation of the house, or the roof. It can be anything, but usually those two pieces. You might also want to take a look at inspecting the pipes or the electrical things. So when I see a tower card, it's usually showing something that's in the walls or underneath, or kind of that you're not paying attention to. So preventative maintenance across the board is really good in your life. That includes going to the doctor, that includes exercising and eating well, just taking care of things before they break. And that's how you can get ahead of the tower or change it around, right? So we have the Ace of Pentacles here in reverse. Hello, that was the ace. And we also have what looks like an Ace of Pentacles here for me as well. So the reversal, when I look at Page, Knight, Queen, King, reverse, it usually shows that you want to invest in yourself. You want to do something for you. It's the focus on self rather than others. The pentacle is turned in the opposite direction. So the other thing, when the pentagram is reversed, you're focusing on the lower chakras as well. So safety, expression of ideas, and power. What parts of those things are kind of feeling good and what aren't, because you need to focus on the lower chakras. But anyway, an ace is an ace. So it feels like for you, there's just really an encouragement to take what you see and what you feel and start to invest your energy into it. This is why the Six of Pentacles came through at the center, because you can't do everything that you want. You have to focus on a goal and what's necessary and try to kind of juggle it around. You have enough time, you have enough resources, but some sort of trade-off or sacrifices are going to need to be made this month. With people in your life, there could be folks that are trying to take a little too much with the ace card in reverse. So again, pushing back is going to be important. The other thing is, don't miss an opportunity. This is the universe knocking on the door and saying, are you ready? And a reversed ace could be like, I'm not ready. I'm not confident yet. I'm not sure, or there's a lack of preparation. So you could, in this case, miss an opportunity if that happens. So I don't want you to miss out on something that's good. Once you start to feel confident, everything shifts around here. We have the Sun card in your ego. Sun upright is actually quite good. And I feel like we had to have the ace reversed before you can get to this. When this is upside down, it can sometimes show either you or someone in your life is too focused on yourself. You're not in this case. This card is upright. It's just enough. So I feel like if you want to go back to school, get some training, pull back a little bit, take care of your health, or spend more time with your children, whatever this is, it's about, I need something more for me. This is telling me that it's not selfish, it's appropriate, and it will make you happier in the long run. The Sun card upright is also about your charisma. So one of the most powerful things, we were talking about the possum earlier and its body language. So the way that these two connect is that when you, I don't think I talked about this. Maybe I didn't. Let's see. I think it was on a card, but if not, we're going to talk about it now. The power of smiling. Let me see if I put it in here. Sometimes I have to toss some cards because I get busy. So I will add one right now. Yeah, let's add one right now. This is important, really important, actually. So one of the most powerful things that you can do is simply smile, because when you open up and when you start to show somebody a different energy or a different way of interacting with you, amazing things are possible. So let's write down here. I'm just going to put the power of a smile. One of the reasons this is so powerful is because how you greet someone. So there you go, power of a smile. And I'll talk about that again at the review. But when you start to engage with somebody, especially if it's a challenging situation, how you approach it, how your tone of voice is, what your body language is, it's so important, because if you can greet the person first and say, hey, how's it going? What's going on with you? Really listen, hold some space, and then smile, an authentic smile, not sort of like a weird one. You know what I'm talking about? You've probably seen the pictures of kids where it's all teeth and it's a little scary. Have a real authentic smile that's you, even if it's not showing teeth. Just sort of like, smile and open up. It's a sunnier energy than, kind of, and saying, we need to talk. I'm really angry about this. When you start just going in with that energy, it's too much. So a sunny disposition is going to help you accomplish the goal at hand. And saying things like, even like if somebody acts out of sort, I think it's really important to say, this is out of character for you. I want to understand what's going on. It took me by surprise, but I'm actually more concerned about you in the moment. Then we need to talk about how we're going to fix this. Are you okay? Because they may not be. And you may be able to completely diffuse it, and they may apologize, and everything could fall into place. So use honey, not vinegar, to kind of solve the situation in that respect. Okay? And that is a little bit of the pacifist energy of the possum coming through, but in a way that's more direct. We want to take the good elements of the possum and try to elevate them a little bit, right? Okay. This is a baby too. So for those of you that might be trying to conceive, this is a good sign, especially since we had the Empress card. And if you're trying to create something in your life, this also indicates the possibility of bringing it into fruition. So I like that. All right, we have a Knight of Pentacles in your environment, also reversed. Most of your Pentacles cards are reversed. It's really interesting. Everything else was upright, every other card except Justice, but your court cards, and we got all of them in the suit of Pentacles, are reversed. So we got to talk about that. We'll start about the environment first. So this is about picking up the pace when it comes to getting something done or working on something in general, because I see this as an investment or practical sort of application of something. Knights are active when it's reverse. There's dragging of the feet that's happening, or there could be you going in a direction that's counter to what you should be doing, counterproductive, counterintuitive. So take a moment, reassess. How is this helping me? Is this helping me? If it's not, then I'm going to shift and focus on something else. So yeah, direction, redirection if necessary. And again, if somebody, it feels like you might even have a couple of things that you have to decide between. So this is when the Six of Pentacles comes in, and you have to see which one's most important, right? Because a person seems kind of urgent here, like, well, I need this right here and right now, but you're kind of nursing this new little baby, or this egg that you're trying to hatch and see something happen with. So don't let that go. Kind of like a chicken egg, it needs to be incubated, right, before it can hatch. So make sure that you are putting the proper investment into whatever it is that's important for you as well. You don't have to give that up. That's one of the things that I'm seeing here. Okay, we have the two cards that came together, and I was like, you know what, they're actually related. So we're going to look at this in opportunities, hopes, and fears. In this case, it could also be conflict. Two of the same suit, and also like a king and a queen. This is very much, this could be like a domestic situation that's popping up. And it could also be something where you may not want to get involved in this. If what's not your business is not your business. But if this is you and another person, the fact that both of these were reversed, what I would say is, it seems like somebody has to concede, someone has to meet in the middle. There's too many demands going up. Also, there's a lot of focus on work, on finance, on practical things. We didn't get any cups, did we? No cups. That's happened a couple times this month. So the lack of cups tells me that more heart, more empathy would be necessary to help relieve or kind of like let go of this sort of situation. If you're looking for love this month, that's a complication. There could be someone that's entangled. This is usually a divorce card, a separation card. The fact that these stuck together, in my head, my guys were saying, no, they're one. I'm just seeing that someone's not finished with that old business. So if you're trying to date someone and they're in the process of a divorce, that needs to be sorted out first and foremost. If you're in business and maybe you're looking at buying a business, for instance, something needs to be, there are strings attached. So whatever this sort of potential thing is, you probably already have a red flag. And I just see like something below in the fine print, another person involved, some sort of a snag. So this is the discerning piece that I was talking about in my channel messages. I feel like you want to ask some questions and make sure that you know what you're getting into, okay? So yes, someone isn't completely detached from something and it's not you, it's someone that you could be working with. So let them get their life sorted before you bring them into the fold. Hopefully that makes sense. Let's move more on to you, because that's just, by the way, for possibilities, if we take it outside of relationships, this could have to do with a potential partnership in the future. And again, you just want to make sure that in this case that you're both on the same level and that there's no entanglements. Could be a couple of job opportunities in front of you too, because it's in the possibility space. So I don't mind it. I just see that the fact that there's conflicting interests rather with all of these pentacle cards reversed. Everyone's focusing on their own piece. So you either need a mediator or you need to kind of like wake up the collective group, and everyone needs to start to listen a little bit more. I like that we have Four of Wands in your outcome. This is a really good foundational card. I feel like you are ultimately attracting good people, good opportunities into your life. That's why I want you to be picky. I feel like you have a lot of choices, so choose the one that feels best for you. This indicates friendship. It can be commitment. It can be partnership. A lot of times you have to hold the space before the person comes in. Many Four of Wands cards will just have an empty space between the Four of Wands where ultimately someone would step in. So hold the space first if you would like to. This is also about cherishing and maybe rekindling friendships, something I've been talking about recently as well. So even if it's remotely while we're still getting through the pandemic, that's fine, but really trying to make sure that you don't lose these important connections in your life, okay? And this is also the ability to love and to experience joy again after letting go of something. So this is saying the story is not over yet, right? So this is one chapter in your book. This is another chapter in your book. So I see something nice after a period of change, of things falling apart. Let's face it, last year was the Tower. I would say this year is like the Tower reverse. We're starting to clean up the mess. So it makes sense, but you have a lot of really cool things that you should be focusing on. What's next for you, right? You should always have a plan B, C, D, etc. You should always be thinking of that next big thing. All right, let's focus now on the expanded forecast. I'm going to grab some water while we do that, and then we're going to look at health, wealth, love, and destiny. All right, so with health, wealth, love, and destiny, each of these are multi-part. The more I look at health, as I've started to do this over the past 7 years or so, this card tends to have multiple layers to it. I'm looking at it more energetically when I look at the card, and then I'll go physically when I look at the tarot cards. So what a beautiful message here. And I love all of the, because I love totems and I love animals. So we have Jesus here, which is a teacher and a healer. And it says, open your heart to love. And I think it's a really important message because this reverse usually means that someone wronged you or that you're working through a disappointment. This can be cleaning up the mess after that. This is what we were talking about. This is the next chapter in your book, but you have to heal yourself first. And you have to think, I am worth it. I am worthy of receiving. That's why Shavasana came to me when I was sleeping last night. I saw myself kind of just laying down, relaxing, and opening up and receiving. So you need to first just heal yourself and then feel that you are a worthy recipient of love, abundance, happiness, and all of these in the highest forms. And maybe you're going to connect with nature or with little Apollo, like your dog. He's put all of his toys out there, so apologies for that. But yes, maybe it is something like that. An animal in your life. I can't quite get him in frame here because he's too close. But anyway, connecting with non-humans, like animals, nature, And just spending some time with yourself and loving yourself is going to be key. One of the things with Jesus as a teacher, irrespective of what your religion is, we look at all things. This is a cosmically spiritual channel here. I look at mythology and all of that. But as an avatar, as an ascended master, Jesus is someone who forgives and who lets go and wouldn't hold a grudge. So let it go. That's what the Shavasana pose was really about. And I think I even wrote like just release the pain, release the fear. And I think that that's going to be really, really key to, release your fear and open up to your power. Imagine that you are an ace card, which we got, and then receive, grow, expand, and surrender to your purpose. All of these things are super important. Okay. So let's look at the next thing here. As we kind of spiral this out to look at what's going on in your body this month, this is an important time for you to rebuild. Feels like some of you may have made a decision that you're going to step away from something that was either toxic or didn't feel good or just wasn't the right thing for you. And this is the rebuilding phase. And sometimes it takes a while for things to feel better. I recently, kind of wrapping up, I think I might have maybe 4 sessions left. But last year I had an ankle sprain, and I held off on getting physical therapy because of COVID, and then it started to get a little bit better this spring. So I decided to finally get the therapy. I feel so much better, and I'm so happy that I strengthened it, because whenever you have an injury like that, it's really about kind of getting the rest of the body around it strong, because there's only so much healing that can happen with the tissues. So it ends up just being about rebuilding. So it's tough work, and it hurt at the beginning, but I don't have any pain now. And so you have to sometimes work through the fear, work through the pain, strengthen yourself a little bit. And the tower isn't always a bad thing. It's just about picking up the pieces. So I feel like for many of you, loving yourself, picking up the pieces. For some of you, this tower could be a health issue. For some of you, it could be a relationship, and it's just kind of like mopping everything up. And then it's going to be okay, because when we look at the ego, we have the sun, right? And when we look at the outcome, we have the 4 of Wands. Super important cards. In the near future, we have the Ace of Pentacles. So it feels to me like you're on the right path. Let go and don't focus on the other people. When we solely fixate on an ex-partner, an ex-boss, a friend that you're estranged with, it's as if you're just sort of siphoning your energy towards them. The thoughts are all going in that direction. So instead, start to reclaim the energy, forgive them, release them, and say, you know what, I did the best I can, and maybe you did the best you could, and even if you didn't, I don't want to think about this anymore. I need to focus on something bigger and better. Okay? Forgive. It's a good time to do it. And, this is the month where this card would make sense. So, with Easter and everything, it makes a lot of sense. So I think this is the time to just let it all go. Okay. So again, we're looking at May, but the fact that we're going through this in April, some of that energy is still flowing through. So let go and move on. The Sun card is good for, like I said, pregnancy. So it looks like it's better, but for some of you, there's a lot going on in your life. So I would say, you have to kind of clean up all other aspects of your life, including the house. These cards can also just indicating needing to get out of a situation, a house, or cleaning something up, or a job that's kind of like broken or toxic. And I think that's essential. All right. Let's move along now to wealth here. We have enlightenment and wealth. I like this card a lot. Some of you wealth to me is career, school, life purpose as well. So some of you may decide to go back to school, to train yourself, to read up on something, to try to pick something that's more fulfilling. So if you're retired, for instance, past the working phase, this is doing something that truly brings you joy and love in your life. And even if you're just starting out, especially if you're in your early 20s and looking at this, don't take a job because your mom and dad want it. Don't take a job because you studied something, but you're not feeling it. Take it because you feel like you're going to be able to do this job for a while, make a difference, look forward to getting up in the morning. Obviously, there are some things that we do, including like when I was a kid, I worked in a restaurant. I did everything from being like a bus person to a server to a host to catering and all of that. It was really important, I think, for everybody to work in a service job because you can see how people treat other people. But we all have those jobs which are just sort of sometimes transitional. And for me, it built character as I did that. But I want you to truly choose something because you want to. It feels like it's bringing something to you. So if you can't get it in your job and you don't have a choice to sort of do something different, then find something in your life that lights you up like this. So let's say you have a really successful job and you just want to have like a side gig doing something that really, like maybe it's musician, maybe it's art, maybe it's yoga, whatever. Give yourself a chance to develop somewhere else because you don't know where that will take you. Some of what I'm doing here, I did when I had a regular quote unquote job, and I just felt less and less interested in the regular job and more interested in this. So it's a gradual process, and there's nothing wrong with any one career. It's more about what do you want? Because I actually have friends too, or family members that chose to go out of corporate and then just go work in a restaurant because it's a lot more fun. They feel like they can be with people. So it's different strokes for different folks. Just find what you want where that's actually feeling like it's compatible. Let's look a little bit at finances here. Let's pull the camera down as I do this so you can see all the pentacles, and we're going to look at it with the relationships too. So like I said, you have more than enough with this, but it feels like something's in conflict. This to me does feel very sort of like society or parental, other people trying to push or tell you what to do. And it feels like you have a feeling for what you want, but there's things tugging this month. So I think knowing who you are, knowing what you want, that's going to solve all of this. And then probably saying no and letting go of some things are going to be another essential piece of this. So once that comes together, I feel pretty good about it. And I really like that we have an ace and a 4 of wands. You also don't have to do this all alone. And that's what this card is saying. So you have more support, more help than you may imagine. But many of you you might be licking the wounds from being laid off, underemployed, unemployed, because a lot of us had to go through that last year. And this is about rebuilding and thinking about something in a completely different perspective. I think I've been talking about having imagination and thinking how I can use my old skills in a different light for about a year. It's still coming through for you, so don't be afraid to do that. Okay, so there could be a couple of opportunities for employment as well if you're looking, because we have an ace and then we have a knight. I like both of those cards. So I see movement, I see opportunities, and if you're not happy, look around, okay? Next thing that we're gonna look at is the love card. Relationships for me have to do with not just like romantic sort of connections in your life, but also friends, family, loved ones, etc. So we have listening here. The card was reversed. It really is about being an active listener. And if you're not feeling listened or supported by others, then this is about speaking up and saying, I wasn't finished, or I just need you to listen. I'm not asking for your judgment. So listen to others, and you should also be listened to, finding that balance. I talked about this, I believe, in Gemini. The power of holding space and just letting people talk is so revealing. You can really learn a lot, and you can save yourself a lot of trouble when you do that. So yeah, be present there for others. And the other thing here with the King and Queen of Pentacles connected there, I feel like someone may just, it might be better to, if you're looking for love, this could just be a better friendship than a relationship. Someone needs a friend more than they need a lover right now. So that's one thing that's coming through, especially with the 4 of Wands, which can be platonic depending on how you look at it. For people in relationships, it's a cleanup month. So if you're happily married, or if you've been in a relationship for a while and it may or may not be happy, what we're seeing here is, are you gonna stay or are you gonna go? This card is usually about putting down some groundwork, and this is about rebuilding. So both parties need to be committed for this to work. And it does feel like you need to hold your ground, or stand your ground if something's important. The ultimate outcome is the 4 of Wands. So if you can get through this, there could be sort of like a forgiveness or a rebuilding going on for existing relationships. If you're single and looking, I want you to focus on getting your life together first. And I think that should be the central focus. But you do have many people coming through, but they have a lot of the same characteristics, which also to me says that if they're functioning as mirrors, there's still some work to happen internally. If you're single and happy, this is really good actually this month, because all of these pentacle cards show me opportunities. You just have to know what you want, right? And that's it. All right, so let's focus on your destiny card. And we have perfection with this one. I'm looking at this warrior. Sometimes we're our own worst enemy is what I got when I was looking at this as I was pausing. So the card being reversed here, I would say, take a moment to be kind to yourself and to let things go. So sometimes you make a mistake, you just have to sort of like cross through it, move on to the next thing. learn what it was, but don't sort of beat yourself up. Nobody is perfect. Nobody has walked into this life and done everything right, because we get tested all the time, but we learn sometimes even more from a quote unquote failure as we do from a success, because those messages that we get when we hit a hiccup or a bump in the road, or we out and out fail something, it's really just a chance to learn, how did it happen? Why did it happen? Why don't I want this to happen again? And you never forget a lesson like that. It's like, yeah, I'm not going to do that. I've already been down that road. So yeah, realize that if there was a setback, then it made you stronger, and you're going to be okay for this. You're going to be better because of it. Let's put it that way. All right. Let's quickly review. A lot of times at this midpoint, everything comes together really cohesively. So let me quickly review everything, and then we're going to go a little bit deeper. Today, it's kind of easy. I want to look at like justice in the tower. I want to look at the fact that we got no cups cards, for instance, and then look at some of these resource cards that came through. So let's go ahead and quickly review everything. So your first message here was your spirit totem, which was a possum this month. Possums are fascinating animals because they're pacifists. They seek the path of least resistance. And as a positive aspect of this, you may be able to de-escalate a situation, a conflict, for instance. Focus on body language and use it as a powerful tool in communicating. Focus on what other people are saying physically, especially if their words don't tie up to that, because that is a big red flag when and if that happens. Instead of playing dead this month, move into the energy of change and actually transform. So important. A lot of times we kind of brush past that. Whatever scares you can also help you, especially with growth and expansion. So trust in your abilities and stand tall, speak up, engage, and move forward. Basically, the antithesis of just sitting there and waiting for someone else to figure it out. Everything will see the light of day, so it's time to plan, prepare, and to take some action. I was talking about making a to-do list. You could also call this a wish list or a dream list, because as you start to dream about what's possible, then it can happen. And just like Apollo in the background who's sleeping or just woke up, a lot of this stuff could come in dreams and meditations as well. But ultimately, it's going to help you with manifestation. All right. Possums are known for showing their teeth. Take a note. Oh, I did have it. Smile. Here it is. I just didn't see it earlier. Take a note and smile. It's a great way for you to transform an interaction. I just went past this card too fast earlier, so I'm going to take this last one out. Okay, so yeah, use the ability to smile and basically warm up a situation. Sometimes if you just go in with like this battle axe sort of approach, this is not fun. It may make look like for a cool illustration, but I don't want to meet this person at the office, right? Or at the bank or whatever. So smile first, and then if you need to kind of get into something, you can. Meet others. Yes, okay. The expectation that things will work out, change the energy. Clearly, I did put smile a lot. I want you guys to pay attention to that. The smile needs to be authentic and not scary, though. Protect your privacy and intellectual property. Speak to a lawyer if you need to. Take a special care when it comes to using any shared devices or, God forbid, any shared passwords. I really think that the only thing, if you're sharing a password for Netflix or something, please make sure that all other passwords are much, much different, and your email account is different that you're using for other logins. You got to be smart about that. Spirit often waits for you to ask for help, especially archangels, angels, guides, all of those sort of higher beings. They don't want to get in the way of your free will. So ask what you need, ask for what you need, and then let it go. Shavasana is a great way to open up to receiving after you've done all the work, right? So that's the main message there. It's Sanskrit for like corpse pose, which really ties in with our nature totem today. But what I really see with it is a chance to release the stuff, like the anger, the frustration, any of the contracts that you had, and then open up to the new things. There's a lot of abundance that wants to come through for you in the form of all of this. By the way, this could also be like a family feud or like a small group where everybody's two in their own sort of heads a little bit. So try to release having to control that kind of situation, right? Okay, let's look at the next thing. We have receive, grow, expand, and surrender to your purpose. I absolutely agree with this. This is what's going to allow you to kind of grow and get past the sort of passive energy of the possum. So we're going to take the best elements of that nature totem and then just put a little bit of action behind it. And I think that's going to serve you well. When it comes to relationships, be discerning. Don't accept the first option. And as we see, there's a lot of movement with people in your life. And ultimately with this, there's an opportunity for something deeper, right? And let's see. Relationships, okay, yes. Also opportunities, I would say jobs. Don't take the first job that comes along if it's not what you want. Obviously, there's certain times where we need work and we do it, but ultimately I want you to try to be discerning and getting on the right path there. Make your bed. Multiple things here, literally making your bed, because it clears the energy of, it clears your, like when you go to sleep the next night, you're not bringing the old stuff in. It's like a nice clean slate. And also when you start the day, it's sort of like you're putting to rest the previous day. Be accountable. We're approaching in the US tax season over the next couple months. I think it was actually extended into May. So take care of that stuff. And then each day is new. Each day has exciting opportunities. So really embrace that. We have that right here in your catalyst card. Reaching for something, you have to have a goal. If you have a goal, you can be more successful. So reach up, reach out. You have more than enough if you make some good choices this month. So you don't have to do everything. Sometimes it's better to let go of something, to push back, to proactively speak up. This is saying that no is a good thing. And also, you don't want to sort of be someone who is empowering someone who constantly is depending on you. You want to get rid of codependencies, in other words. So sometimes when you say no or not yet, it forces these people to find a way to do for themselves. And so that's one of the powers of not always giving. And it's hard when you're a parent. It's hard when you're a caretaker, but we want to make sure that, because we kind of see both ends of the spectrum here. We see someone old, we see someone young. And so no matter who in your life is leaning on you, you also want to let them know you're powerful. You can handle this. I'll help you, but I want you to try first. It's a really good message, especially for the young. It's okay if you need to let go of something. It probably is for the best. It's probably healthy. It feels like it's already decided and done. It's a matter of just sort of stepping into that truth. You're ultimately going to be much more stronger and more powerful because of this. And you're going to pull in better situations in the future, better relationships in the future as well. This is a cleanup month, so start to clean up. And don't be afraid to kind of look at any sort of setback or any sort of challenge as building blocks for the future. And that's what we really see nicely with this Tower card. Ace of Pentacles, don't miss out on something because you feel like you're not worth it. Try it. Maybe try this and let go of something else. This is investing in yourself. Keeping a sunny disposition, smiling again, but being authentic, not like a possum smile, trying to sort of really connect on a heart level with someone. There might be someone who is just as urgently trying to get something done as you are. And this is a balancing act that you'll have to figure out. When it comes to relationships overall, I see some people that are still sort of connected, or there's a little bit of a snag going on with these two. So you want to be careful. And then friendships are important. Really value the friendships this month and put some more energy into friendships for sure. As we look at your health card, we have, for me, the epitome of forgiveness and teaching. It's Jesus. So for some of you, opening your heart to loving again, letting go of things, also connecting with nature and animals, really important at this time. Other health messages are about just finding the appropriate balance, saying no to temptation, investing in yourself, not overdoing it when it comes to diet. So many Pentacle cards reversed could just be about a little bit of abundance with either drinking or food, especially typically it's the King of Pentacles reversed that shows overindulgence. And we see it nicely on this card. He's got a cake. He has some wine. He's been sitting so long that the vines are kind of climbing over his feet and everything. So this is really about making sure that you move, that you don't overeat, that you don't overdrink, just moderation overall. And that's it. Okay, so let's take a look at your wealth card. You should feel a sense of opening, enlightenment, of feeling really connected to something. If you don't, why are you still doing it? This card is a sort of wake-up call for that, right? The other thing here is that we see multiple opportunities. Some of you might decide to go back to school. Many of you need to get out of a situation that's not working. So cleaning up your finances for sure are part of this. Also, if you had to let go of things because of a legal situation, bankruptcy or divorce, we see new things coming in, and we also see support here. So all of that is good. Love, we have listening. Listen more. Make sure that you're being listened to. Talk to a psychologist if you need to. This is such an empowering thing to have. the ability to be heard. And also, one of the most beautiful things you can do for someone is just listen to them and be there for them. And finally, with this card here, perfection is overrated. It's really, have you done the best that you can do? Are you allowing yourself permission to make a mistake? And also, when we're looking at body language, it can be tough to be around a perfectionist sometimes, right? They do tend to be sort of angry or uptight. So this is really about opening up, clearing things up a little bit. All right, let's go deeper now. I want to take a look at justice and the Tower. What are you cleaning up or walking away from? What's all of that about? So we're going to clarify justice reversed in the Tower. All right, we've got the Emperor card here. And so the interesting thing here, it does feel to me like there's too many people in this, like too many cooks in the kitchen, too many people in the room. We have two couples, basically. So for some of you, this could be in-laws. For some of you, this could be like trying to melt together sort of like a blended family. So, you know, if you've divorced and you're married again, there's always going to be two sets of couples, and trying to figure out how to kind of deal with that interaction, because this can be a card of divorce. So I guess one of the challenges for you is you're not going to be able to make everybody happy. And that's one of the hardest lessons I think I had to learn. I learned that lesson back in high school once when I was just trying to be pulled in too many directions and I had to make a choice between like extracurricular activities. So I learned then that if you try to do everything, you'll fail. If you try to make everyone happy, you'll fail. And you'll probably be very unhappy in the process. But if you stand up and say, this is what's important, you may be unpopular in the moment, but you will, you're going to be respected, and you're going to be seen as somebody that people can trust. People know that you know who you are and what you want. So yeah, stand up for yourself. Ultimately, this is the ultimate boss of the Emperor. So the King of Wands, or the Emperor, really is sort of like the main the main boss. So just really stand up for what matters. So if you love someone and you know your partner's having a hard time accepting this person into your life, you could say, this is not really up for discussion. We're going to co-parent, and this is how it works, and you're welcome to love again too. Like, it's sort of trying to blend all of that. If you're single and happy, and if you're not focusing on relationships, the Emperor is really coming in to say it's all about accountability. So if something went wrong before, you were a participant in that. And because we had the Opossum this month, this is saying in the future, you're going to just stand up more and speak up earlier and just be much more active. That's all. So this was the past. This is you. This is now the present and the future. And notice how kind of relaxed he is once he knows his battle plan here in front of him. Okay, cool. All right, let's go to the next thing that I want to look at, which I'm really curious about the lack of cups. So I just want to say, what does Cancer need to focus on when it comes to emotional readiness, relationships, sensitivity, all that jazz? So the absence of cups, what's it about? All right, we have the Knight of Swords in reverse. So for some of you, it feels like you just don't have time. This is you trying to catch up. That's a lot of birds there as well. You're trying to put out a lot of other fires. You're trying to take care of a lot of other things, and it just feels like this isn't a priority. It also has to do with how you think about yourself. So you're your own worst critic, because we have the perfection card here, and it was reversed, and he's holding not one, but two swords. It's hard to see them, but they're on either side. So it feels like you have to start to just think more positively about yourself and maybe get out of this nonsense for a little bit. It feels like you need a little bit of space. That Shavasana pose, just laying down. You can do this on the bed. You can do this on a yoga mat. It's actually good if you've never done yoga. Maybe check out YouTube, or there's a lot of free classes that many studios are doing right now just because of the pandemic, even on Instagram. Do a quick sort of yoga meditation or routine, and then definitely a Shavasana at the end, which will just allow you to relax and receive. you need to take a break is what I'm seeing with this, and think positively about yourself. That's going to invite in the energy that we saw with the Four of Wands. But much like, I can't remember which other sign that I read for this month, but there was another one that had no cups. It doesn't seem to be a central focus this month, relationships, like not finding new ones or not focusing so much on making the other people happy. Almost everything for you this month, Cancer, was introspective. Fixing, kind of like regrouping, focusing, and then speaking up. It's all about you. And once you do that, I think things will be good. All right. Let's take a wild card here and just sort of see what else is maybe that I didn't touch upon. And then we'll do a bonus card at the end. But let's look at what else is coming through for the next 6 to 8 weeks for your sign. So a future card. So when you stop looking, it comes. That's actually a really powerful message. Isn't it funny that when I was fixating on the Cups card, you couldn't get it? But when you're not looking for it, literally, he's holding like, what is it when you telescope? So basically, and he's not looking. And here we go. Here we have the King of Cups. So just relax, just release a little bit like we were talking about, and allow yourself to feel joy. It's important to feel joy. I see the dolphin in the background. I'm looking at all the cat playing with all this stuff, but joy and abundance is what we see in this King of Cups card. It's a really cool card. So it's always been there. It's always ready for you. But all we had to do today was stop focusing on it, which is kind of why I don't focus on love in these readings, because once you get everything together, it naturally falls in, right? This is a great time for you to do creative activities. If you are artistic, if you're a musician, if you're a writer, this is a good time for you to channel that. This is also a good time for you to plan a trip in the future, maybe next year. Obviously, we're still kind of tricky with travel bans and everything, but this could even just be a local sort of thing, deciding to get in the car and drive a little bit. Just go to the next city or town if you're not under lockdown, and just enjoy the scenery as you're driving in the car. It's a nice, safe place to do it. Do something fun. It feels like fun and joy are a part of this. It's really important. The card is upright, so there's just a reminder here that divine joy is part of your purpose on this planet. You're supposed to experience joy and love and abundance. So open up to that. Really great energy here. And yes, if you're looking for love, or yes, if you're looking for healing or forgiveness, it's possible with this, okay? Stop fixating on the other person. That's my only criticism when I think at any time in our life, we sometimes need your person reading. But typically, we need to focus on ourselves so that we can understand why our person is acting the way that they are, because usually it's a mirror of how we feel or how we're interacting with them. So I try to empower you with that kind of stuff. And we still talk about relationships like we did here. I think entanglements are the main thing to focus on. How are you entangled? How is someone else entangled? How can you clean it up a little bit? It feels like there's just a lot of people here, and a little bit of space, a little bit of separation will be good. And at the end of all of that, it'll lead to a happier tomorrow. So let me talk about a couple of things here. First of all, I'm going to have 2 collective readings this month. I have one in a week and one in a couple of weeks. So if you'd like to check them out, just follow my channel, first of all. So if you haven't already done this, I know we got a lot of new people here today. Hit that thumb up button. We have about 223. I'd like to see a couple more. This really helps with engagement. Later, if you could share the video, comment on it, just engage with it. It will help more people find it. You've been doing it lately. It's made a difference, and I appreciate it. It's so powerful. So if you can do that, I'm really, really grateful. For everyone that's enjoying what you're seeing here, we're going to do one more card at the end, but just want to remind you that you can still give back using Super Chat or later using applause. And before I get into the meditation, I'd love for you to follow me on social media, especially my Instagram account. I post a bunch of cute pictures of Apollo, who's going to be popping in and out of here as we're doing the meditation. Instagram's a great way to follow me. Facebook, obviously, if you haven't subscribed yet, please do that now. I'm starting to do some stuff on TikTok now, so follow me there. And if you want to find out more about my about my book, you can follow me on Goodreads. Everything is basically my name, at Nicholas Ashbaugh, except Twitter because of their character limit, which is @Ashbaugh. So give me a follow, and we'll continue the dialogue. I do go live on Instagram, and Maria just put a note there. So thank you, by the way, Maria, also for helping with moderation today. So let's get into the meditation. While I'm setting this up, just a quick note. that I want you to think of something that I haven't answered yet. This could be something that's going on with your career, something that's going on with your relationship. In the meditation, kind of let go of it. And then afterwards, I'm going to pull an extra card to answer that question for you. The meditation lasts 2 minutes. You should stick around for this today because one of the messages was that you need to sort of receive. And I'm going to set you up to receive in this meditation. So you owe it to yourself to just give yourself 2 minutes to receive abundance. And then we're going to look at your question, okay? I'd love for this one to be at the beginning of a brand new day. So let's imagine that you just stepped onto the beach and it's a nice warm spring day and you can smell the scent of the salt water. You can feel the nice warm breeze as it kind of like caresses your hair and your face. And you find a place, maybe there's a hammock, I like that. There's a hammock on the beach and you find a place where you can just sit down and relax. So as you get into this hammock, just let go. One of the nice things whenever you're in a hammock is it really feels probably the closest that you can to having someone sort of cradle you. So see these two beautiful palm trees, a nice pristine beach, and you just gently get into this hammock. And it kind of wraps around you a little bit, and the harsh sunlight's being blocked by the palm tree right in front of you. And you see a few rays of light coming through the top palm fronds and everything. So it's nice sort of like emerald green and beautiful golden rays that are coming through. So as you close your eyes, you just feel the warmth wrap around you of this sort of cocoon-like hammock, and then the rays of light. And they're actually kind of magically touching on each of your chakra or energy points, the crown, the third eye, the throat, the heart, your solar plexus, and then the lower two chakras as well. Everything is basically being protected and enhanced a little bit with the light. In this moment, I just want you to listen to the sound of the ocean. Try to bring your breath into sort of synchronization with it. So there is a special breath in yoga called Ujjayi breath. So as you do, you can imagine that it kind of mimicking the sound of the ocean. And as you breathe in, you're breathing in all of the power of those waves. Starting to refill your cup. So imagine that you are akin to or just like the Ace of Cups. And there's almost like this magical cup surrounding your body, protecting your body. And as you breathe, the energy is starting to come into that cup and it's filling up a little bit more with each and every breath. As you exhale, you're letting go, and whatever you don't need is going through your body into the sand, into the earth like a sieve. You're letting go of the pain, the frustration, the self-doubt, the critical thoughts, the uncertainty, all those things that are the lower frequency things that hold us back from basically achieving our best. So just take a few deep breaths as I play this singing bowl, and I want you to imagine that you can achieve your dreams, that you are worthy of receiving, that you are ready to receive, and you're going to start to take an active role. And as we're breathing now, there's so much energy that you can imagine, just like the Ace of Cups, it's starting to bubble over. But I'm kind of seeing like a circle starting. So the energy is coming up over the cups and then it's coming back through and you're creating this cycle, this eternal cycle. And if you traced it from the side, you would see infinity. So you've now created this eternal energy, this sort of recirculating energy. So you're going to have more than enough every single day. And you're pulling it from the elements, from the light, from the air, from the ocean, from your soul. So just allow yourself to be refilled for a moment. And then we are going to look at your final question. So think about something that I haven't answered and then let it go as you're just breathing. And then we're going to look at that question in just a moment. Take one last deep breath. In this moment, I want you just to feel that it is possible. Whatever it is that you're trying to do, you can feel it in your heart, you can feel it in your soul, and you feel like everything is just a little bit easier. Today is going to be a little bit easier than yesterday. Keep your eyes closed for a second. And I'm going to look at your question. You don't have to type it, just think it. Whatever it is, I'm going to look at it as a yes, no, and then I'm going to go a little deeper as well. So think of the question that I haven't answered or that you also want me to look at. And let's see what's coming through for you. All right. What a powerful final card to come through. We have the Magician here. So you can do anything you set your mind to. This is an emphatic yes, but there are a couple things that you want to do to make sure that you can keep it as a yes and you don't get distracted. The first is just that. The Magician is powerful as long as he doesn't spread himself too thin, or she doesn't spread herself too thin. So you want to make sure that you're not trying to do everything, because it's kind of a generalist energy with the Magician. Everything is there, but that doesn't mean that you should use everything. So the discernment that we talked about earlier is going to be really important. Maybe this, but maybe not that, maybe not that. So you have to sort of like pick and choose a little bit more, and you can't say yes to everyone. Magic only works if you believe it works. So believe in yourself, especially when you're manifesting. In my book, I wrote that magic is just a new truth waiting to be discovered. So it may seem like something is unbelievably out of reach, or that only someone really powerful can do it. But if you don't believe you're powerful, then that's not going to happen to you. So I want you just to, this could be your manifestation, is I can't wait to receive this wonderful news, or I can't wait for something great to happen. Maybe today is that day. I feel like it could be. Like, start to put the expectation that each and every day could be the beginning of something wonderful. The other thing with the Magician energy that you want to be aware of is you're in demand. That's one thing that I'm seeing. So we saw that with the resource cards that came through. So I know it's hard, and I know with the possum energy, a lot of times you just don't want to have the conflict, but speak up. If you don't have enough help, ask for help. If someone's taking too much, you have to sort of stop that, because this card really wants to help you get to the next phase. And, you know, I mentioned the infinity. That's all. Usually it's above the Magician, or we see him kind of using it in his hands here, the little infinity shape. So you're on the precipice of a new cycle here. I really want this to be a powerful one for you. Okay. Also, in this Magician, we see it right over his heart center. So this is going back to really feeling what you're doing, right? So it's a yes. It's a yes, stay focused. It's a yes, try not to do everything. It's a yes, be willing to say no so that you can do what you want to do. There are a few sort of like fine print items with the yes, but ultimately the Magician is a yes card. So I really like it. And by the way, if we look at your wild card and kind of connect it with this final card, this is love, and this is you, and this is you manifesting that self-love and also pulling in better people in your life than what maybe has been in the past, since we saw that Justice Reverse card. Okay, so you are the one that brings that in, you call that in. We also see that with the Sun card here. These are very chemistry-oriented tarot cards. So your chemistry, your connection to self, that's really what makes it all happen, right? And one quick review of everything that we saw here. Again, you taking control, you being active, so important this month. When it comes to relationships, how you think about yourself, how you stand up for yourself is going to be important. And when you stop focusing on relationships and sort of being happy, suddenly things start to get easier. And ultimately, you are the agent of change in your own life. So that's why we're moving from the passivity of the possum to the active energy that we sort of saw throughout the reading today. Okay, just a couple quick notes before we wrap up. Like I said, I mentioned it a few times, but I have a collective reading in a week. I may ask channel members of what they want to see. So I might do a channel or a members only post for you guys. And so if there's something specific you want me to focus on, we'll check in on that. As I said earlier, please feel free to follow me on social media, especially Instagram, which I'm trying to grow and do more with. And let me know what you might want to see on TikTok. I've started doing some things there. Please make sure, I want to talk a little bit about the fact that on social media, there's a lot of impersonators going for anybody that has a channel that has a few followers. So I will not ever ask for payment for goods and services in a direct message or chat. I don't message people, and I don't invite people to be friends basically because it blurs the lines a little bit. So if someone is reaching out to you, offering product services or asking for things, it's not me. If they say they have a second account, it's not me. Just basically look for the check mark here on YouTube, look for the check mark on YouTube, on Facebook, and then go to my website for social links. And Maria just put the link there, so thank you for that. Again, if you watch this on replay, you can show support. You can also do it here as we're still talking. And finally, this is the single best way to say thank you. I think we have 277. If anybody else here wants to put the thumb up button, it's free and it helps a lot. And then hit subscribe. I found out that over 50%, it's something like 55% of the people that watch don't subscribe. So I'd really love to see who this is going out to. And last thing, I have also written a book. It's in the background there, The Luminous Ones. If you go to my website, you'll see it's available in a lot of different countries. The only edition is English, but it's available worldwide. So if you're a fan of fantasy and you like things like Lord of the Rings, Dune, American Gods, you might like this. So you can check it out. You can get a free chapter if you get the Amazon Kindle version or Apple iBooks version or the Kobo version. All of those give away a chapter for free, so you can test it before you decide to buy it. And if you'd like to do that, thank you. Excuse me. Talking for 90 minutes, we'll do that. All right, let me just recap here. I'll be back tomorrow. And let's see, we did Cancer today, so I'll be doing Leo tomorrow, same time, same place. You can look at all of the information on my website if you would like. And thank you, everybody, for showing up. I appreciate you, and it was really great to see such a great show out today as well. So lots of love and light to you guys. I'll be back tomorrow. Have a great day, and stand up for yourself. Remember, this is a month for you to be active. So until we talk again, lots of love and light. Apollo showed up here, so I'm going to end with him as well. Hey, buddy. Want to say hi to everybody? All right, so have a good one, everyone. Apollo wanted to say goodbye. He always comes in when I play the singing bowl at the end. All right, guys, take care. Hey, buddy.